Hello folks, and welcome to a new episode of Tech News, this time on a Wednesday. This is episode 11. We have a ton to cover, so let's go ahead and jump in. Now, I typically start episodes with some Samsung news first, but why don't we switch up a little today? We have some exciting news coming from the Google side of things, and I want to start there. So Google will reveal its newest mobile device family at the upcoming Google I/O event in May, specifically on May 10th. So that is next month. More importantly, we will see Google's very first folding phone. This is something that I have been waiting for such a long time. So the all-new Pixel Fold is set to be revealed during this event, and added to that, we will also be officially introduced to the all-new Pixel 7a. Now, according to John Prosser, and you may know him already, according to him, these will be available for pre-order on the day of the announcement. So on that same day, you should be able to pre-order these devices for a much later delivery date. Reports are pointing to the fact that the Pixel Fold will go for $1,799. So that's $1,799 in the US, essentially matching the price that Samsung currently has on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, making it in line with much more established foldable devices such as the Z Fold 4, right? So it will come down to how the public reacts to this. That said, the Pixel 7a, on the other hand, will be running at $499. So about $50 more than what we had last year on that same A series. Reports also point to the fact that the very long-awaited Pixel tablet will be announced just as well during that same Google I/O event. And again, we also anticipate that this device will hit the shelves this summer, just like the Pixel Fold and the 7a. Now, like I mentioned last time, this tablet will be powered by the Tensor G2 chipset along with 8 gigs of RAM. As you can imagine, it also will be loaded with Android 13 right out of the box. And the two config setups that we have seen leaked so far are the 128 gigs and the 256 gigs of internal storage. So overall, in terms of when are we going to see these in hands, we are looking at the Pixel 7a to be in hands first before we see even the Fold and of course the tablet. None of this is confirmed, so we're looking forward to the I/O event when Google will confirm all of these dates and all of these devices that will be dropping. And if we are to believe some of these leaks, the Pixel Fold is not to be available until sometimes in June of this year, actually the end of June this year. And that is it for Google. Now that we got that out of the way, let's switch over to Samsung and do more of a quick summary first of everything that we know about the upcoming Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 series. Then of course I will go ahead and fill in some of the latest news that dropped on these upcoming devices. So the new flagship tablet line will be launching this summer. Many of you know that already, and it will of course include all three models that we are already familiar with, meaning there will be a Samsung Galaxy Tab S9, a Tab S9 Plus, and of course the second iteration of the Ultra model in the Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. One thing you will immediately notice is going to be the design change of the lineup. Not necessarily drastic. It will, as you would imagine, keep that same familiar look that we're more familiar with the current generation. So again, not drastic, but definitely some subtle changes to make it very much different from the previous generation. The camera module, for example, is going to be on the same spot, except it's going to mimic that of the Samsung current flagship phones with those individual lenses. They all will be running the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 made for Galaxy, which is the same chipset found again on that same flagship Samsung phone, meaning that these are set to be absolute performance monsters, just like we've seen with the Samsung Galaxy S23 line. In fact, some Geekbench scores that leaked online are actually showing the upcoming S9 Ultra performing slightly better than the S23, than the current Galaxy S23, which again is sharing that same chipset. Now, I'm sure that some of you may have guessed why, right? It's the size of the tablet when compared to the phone, because when it comes down to internal hardware setup and the air circulation, all of that good stuff plays a role in performance. Anyway, so all three tablets will continue to support the Samsung S Pen. Reports from just a few days ago are showing that the Samsung S Pen for the S9 series, so for all three tablets, has just received FCC certification and will feature Bluetooth 5.1 connectivity. There will indeed be some level of dust and water resistance. There will be IP67 rated, which is a first in this particular segment of the industry, right? So there are definitely some tablets out there that share some level of dust and water resistance, but not in this particular flagship tablet industry. So this is going to be fairly new. All three are also set to boast larger batteries, which is just all good news because people are increasingly using tablets as their main computers, right? So the more battery life they can have, the better it is. Now, let's go ahead and jump on to the next one here. We do have some leaks on the next generation of the Motorola Razr. Reports are suggesting that the company will be pushing out 2 models, one of which will be called the Razr Lite 2023 and will be the more affordable model. And I'm assuming another regular Razr 2023 at the regular price. Now, from what I remember, when the last Razr dropped, the price was high up there. But anyway, so I'm excited to see what they come up with. And this is actually a good point to stop and ask this question. Are you getting excited about foldables? Or what is your take? Even if you're not getting excited about it, what is your take on foldables? It seems like these things are going mainstream. Maybe not mainstream, but they're getting, pushed out more and more out there. What is your take on that? I would love to get that back and forth going in the comment section. But anyway, the renders that we see here show something that not only seems fairly small, but looks pretty familiar to the Z Flip 4 if you think about it. Looks like Motorola may have pulled away from their typical very thin design, the one that we are all familiar with. But to me, I just look at it as a new competitor, and I look forward to what it will be doing to the foldable market. Anyways, this should do it for this edition of Tech News here. I will stay updated so that you are updated. I will have more on the next episode. Up until that next episode, of course, as always, stay safe out there.